Boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back.
Yes.
Back with another edition of Mai Tai Happy Hour. So I roll back my volume.
How wonderful
when
is
I
this?
do that. So
We're
I don't,
here again.
We're here in person. There's no monsoon going on today.
No, not today. Thank God we're back. Yeah, that sucked.
Well, I mean, it did, but we didn't get wet. So I was driving home from New York in that.
Yeah.
I had it immensely where, like, literally it hit, that monsoon hit as I walked out the door of the Motorola event I was at. Lightning all over the place.
That's bad business,
Madness.
Bad business.
And then I was like, fuck this. I'll just run to my car the half mile to freaking find the garage. You forget where the garages are. And you get to like find the car and then find where your garage is. And then I'm just like, shit, I got to drive home with this. And it was just like a lake.
Yeah, and we ended up recording very late at night and put out a quality episode for you, our fans.
All for you. We do this all for you because we love you so much.
Indeed.
And we are back. I don't actually know when this is going to air on TV because God knows I'm being in Chicago.
You're a traveling man.
Week. I'm just found out I'm going again in 2 weeks.
You're a traveling man.
I can't do this.
At least you're going to get to go to the tiki bars.
It hurts me. Hambone, what is on our show tonight?
So tonight we've got a great show for everybody. We are going to talk about Star Wars Galaxy Edge. We have been waiting for this. We've been waiting to see what's going on in Galaxy's Edge, and now all of our favorite famous people have gone there, so you don't have to, or probably won't be able to, till it finally opens. We're also going to talk about Magic the Gathering, the TV series. Who'd have thunk it? They're making it. We're also going to talk about one of George's new feel-bad favorites, Chernobyl. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with a review of The Perfection on Netflix, so you definitely don't have to watch it.
Well, they might want to watch it.
I heard it's pretty gross.
I don't know if it's gross. It's just odd. It's so odd.
I've heard it both ways.
Anyway, first off, I think we need to have a cocktail tonight, Hambone.
I think we deserve a cocktail. So today, from liquor.com, as I was tooling around on the internets, as I've been known to do, I found a great drink called Escape from the Dead. Now, what's cool about this is a very involved, many-ingredient tiki recipe, as they should be. However, I have kind of dumbed it down a little bit from all the fancy ingredients that they put on there to stuff that you might actually have at home. So what you're going to do is going to take 1 ounce of white rum. Go for the Bacardi. Can't go wrong. 1 ounce of silver tequila. So this is the best of both worlds. A ½ ounce of Overproof 151, or Lemon Heart if you could find it. You're going to put in a ½ ounce of orgeat, a ½ ounce of creme de mure. You know what creme de mure is?
Nope.
It is a blackberry liqueur. So someone brought a bottle of blackberry liqueur out of your house. Now you're going to have a use for it. A ½ ounce of cream de coconut. So you could just get the coconut cream. Easy peasy. 3/4.
Different than coconut milk, though.
Very different than coconut milk. You want the cream
Coco
de
Loco.
coconut. Coco Lopez.
Yep.
And 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Now just pop it in a shaker. Shake it up with ice. Dump it out with the ice into a glass, and you'll be ready to escape from the dead.
I've gotten to the habit now. I now make a Mai Tai every single Sunday night.
You should treat yourself to it.
I'm trying so hard. It was good when Game of Thrones was on. Now it's been a little rougher this week. Obviously, we've been watching the Wu-Tang Clan documentary, gearing up for that episode.
Holy shit.
Which is like, I finished episode 3, and I'm just like, wow, this is possibly one of the best documentaries ever.
It's Showtime just consistently crushing it.
They're music documentaries. I don't know whether, I have a feeling they're buying them, but they've consistently great. You'll never see like the Allens or the Agnostic Front documentary,
Right.
the Mauro Ronaldo, like this
History
one.
of the Eagles.
So good. Was that on Showtime?
Actually, I forget that was Cinemax.
Yeah.
But hey, you did a good job with that too, guys.
Cinemax. Cinemax even exist anymore?
I don't even know.
I don't
even
know
know anyone
either.
who has Cinemax.
I have no idea. How's your back doing?
That's terrible.
Terrible. What about your dreams about becoming a pro wrestling? Can we go into this again?
Okay.
Have you always dreamed about being a pro wrestler?
You know what? It's one of those things where I thought about when I was a kid. And since I've been watching wrestling since 2012, I was like, man, I would just love to do that. And then when I was at All In last year, I was actually just having a beer with the people who ran wrestling schools. And I was like, all right, guys, realistically, I was like, I know that, yes, you could do anything you put your mind to. DDP, 3-time world champ, started when he was like 35, 36. I was about to turn 40, and I was like, I wonder if I could actually go to wrestling school. I'd be a good excuse for me to get in shape. I would learn the business that I love so much. And they're like, yeah, man, of course you could do it. And they're like, what kind of shape you're in? And I kind of told them about my back problems. And they're like, well, maybe this is not the thing for you. And they're like, well, maybe you could be like a manager and take like a bump here and there, or like a working punch, but maybe you're not meant to go over the top rope. So I was like, all right, maybe you're right. So I've been having problems with my back lately. I have fought tooth and nail with my health insurance provider to get an approval for an MRI. I had 3 MRIs. I get the results tomorrow to kind of figure out what's going on with me. And as we were talking before, you're like, well, what are you going to do if they say they can't figure out what's wrong?
It's psychosomatic.
Well, first and fucking foremost, it is not psychosomatic. I am in real legit pain here. But I said, you know what? If they come back like, well, we just can't figure it out, then fuck it. I'm going to wrestling school. I'm going to become a professional wrestler.
And you're going to die in the ring.
And I'm going to die in the ring.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be in pain all the time anyway, if I'm going to sleep in pain, if I'm going to stand in pain, if I'm going to sit in pain, if I'm going to drive in my car in pain, if I am going to like struggle to get up and down flights of stairs, then I'm fucking going through a fucking table.
God bless you.
Hit me with all the kendo sticks.
Damn straight.
Come at me, bro.
See, I've never wanted to train to be a pro wrestler. I've just wanted to have fun in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm so insane that I'll probably just go into a wrestling ring. I'm like, oh, I can do a moonsault.
You'd break your own back.
And just kill myself. Like, that's what will happen. I'll go up there, and the first move I'll try to do is a moonsault onto you. I'll miss you and die.
You'll break your own back.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm just going to completely overshoot it, and something bad will happen.
Granted, if you've not learned anything from the 3 times you've fallen down the stairs in the last like year and a half.
I've survived 3, at least one was 16 steps.
Yes, one was 16
Full
steps.
flight of steps. I've survived. I'm doing fine. I've never broken a bone.
But hey, 16 steps is like a shoot 27 feet off a steel cage. I work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I didn't drop my beer. They didn't drop my beer. I only like bloodied up my elbow. So I want to talk about Star Wars today.
Yes.
Star Wars at Disneyland. As you know, I am a late bloomer to the Disney world.
Right.
I started, first time I went was 2012, and we've gone, I don't know, pretty much every 2 years and then skip a year for the last, 5 years now, 6 years.
Well, I mean, in fairness, though, Disney is expensive.
Yes.
And it's expensive any way you cut it. And it's always been expensive because of the quality of experience that you get. I've been twice in my life. I went when I was 4 and I went when I was 16. So, some families, they go all the time. God bless them. Most families don't have the money or the means to do something like that. So it's completely understandable that you're a late bloomer for Disney.
So you're rich shaming me.
No, I'm not rich shaming you. I'm just saying that I get it.
So
it ain't cheap.
Allison always wanted to go, but we'd go down to Florida and we'd be like, oh, I'd rather go to Key West. So we'd go to Key West. And then finally one time I'm like, you know what? You deserve to go to no, we went to California.
Yes.
I'm like, let's go to Disneyland. Disneyland, far easier. I've always said this. I've got a full blog post on Cult of George. Disneyland's the far superior Disney park. You can do it in a day. There's 2 great parks. It's a great experience. Very punk rock. Lots of characters. It's just a fun thing. Whereas Disney World, you are stuck in a tourist trap. You can't get out. You're spending way more money. Orlando's not exactly fun, whereas Southern California is a lot of fun.
That's right.
And the weather's better in California.
Indeed.
But right now, Star Wars Disneyland, you mentioned the real name. I actually forgot what the real name was.
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge has launched. This is launching in Disneyland first, later on in Disney World, and then they're opening more rides as the year goes. We are skipping this year. We're not going to Disney because of this, both because of the crazy lines and because I kind of want it to be fully baked before I go.
Understandably so.
This week, they opened up Disneyland for the general public.
I know.
So they made it with there was a big event where they had Mark Hamill and George Lucas and Billy D. Williams present the opening of the Disneyland Star Wars, and then the Millennium Falcon's their full 2-scale Millennium Falcon, and it drops down, and Harrison Ford comes out and said, "We're home, Pete."
Yeah, and he punches it like Fonzie, and it turns on, and fireworks go off.
And I pictured Hambone just crying, weeping at his desk.
Well, he was like, he said, "Peter, this is for you." And I can't even do the Harrison Ford voice. And I'm like, nerds everywhere, just ugly, crying.
So amazing. So they pulled out the big guns for this. I've been reading reviews and looking at videos all week, and it looks amazing. In Disneyland, for those that are familiar with Disneyland but not familiar where this is not taking over a park. They actually threw this into an employee's parking lot that's in the creatures area, the cuddly creatures area. It took over. The only thing they lost was a petting zoo, which I think they moved to a different area.
And all the employee parking.
And then in Magic Kingdom in Florida, it's going to be in Hollywood Studios, which makes more sense.
100% makes more sense.
I got to tell you, at first I've become a huge Disney fan. I love the history of Disneyland, especially in California, because that's the original Disney. It kind of upset me at first to think that they were going to shoehorn Star Wars into Disney proper. While different worlds like Frontierland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, it still was very much in the Disney experience. And I was like, well, they're just going to shove Star Wars in there. But now I've seen what it looks like, and I am blown away.
I'm sold American.
Right now, and this is kind of cool, if the only way to get in is you have to be staying in a hotel and you have to have one of the pre-passes. They're doing a thing where everybody gets 4 hours in.
Right.
You wait in line. It's Disney, so everything is contained and moves quickly. You have a wristband. You go in and you have 4 hours in that portion of the park. After 4 hours, stormtroopers come and tell you to leave.
Oh, no, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's the greatest thing I've heard in my life.
They have stormtroopers everywhere. They have, unlike Disney characters, we have to luck out to maybe see an Aladdin or a princess or something floating around. No, there are stormtroopers everywhere. They're the security.
Yes.
Everything is done with such meticulous detail. The 3 big things that are open right now that people are trying to get to.
Right.
First of all, the bazaar, which is literally like, it reminds me just from looking at like the bazaar in Turkey, but it's kind of like an enclosed area where they just sell stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Which is very similar to things that you might have seen in Rogue One or in Star Wars Rebels, like something that exists on one of the planets.
And this is not a planet from any of the movies. This is a made-up location just for this, which makes sense because you don't want it to tie too much into that world. But you have a bazaar. In the bazaar, you have a store that does make your own lightsaber, but like legit. Like $100 to $300 lightsabers.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a make-your-own droid store.
I know.
Lines to get into those, I heard, were kind of crazy. The other thing that's available is their cantina, which is inspired by the cantina in the first Star Wars movie, in New Hope, but it is not. But it's got all the essence of it.
Yeah. I mean, there have been across the country in different major cities a company that's been doing pop-up bars of Mos Eisley Cantina to give like a kind of like Star Wars experience. They call it like the Dark Side Bar or whatnot, I think. And it's cool, and they try to make it as authentic as possible, but no one's going to make it as authentic as Disney proper.
And they have a droid there who's spinning, like he's basically doing remixes of Star Wars tunes, and he's the actual, like, I think he's like animatronic, but he's working. You have creatures all over, just the amount of detail I hear that's in the building and the edifice, and just the corners just dripping slime. I hear it's incredible. But in the cantina, it's the only alcoholic cocktail other than Club 43.
Yeah, Club 43 or Epcot.
It is the only place in Disney, in the Magic Kingdom, where you can get alcohol as a normal consumer.
And you can try blue milk.
So that's the thing. And beyond blue milk, they have an enormous amount of cocktails ranging from $12 to like $50. And then tiki mugs, Star Wars tiki mugs.
I saw that.
Yes.
I want that.
Yes.
I need.
Yeah, and it's incredible. I heard the lines to get into the cantina and get blue milk or whatever you would like were the worst lines actually there. And people were just like, well, I only have 4 hours. I'm not going to wait in line for 2 hours. Not for a ride, to get a cocktail in the cantina.
No, I absolutely believe it. And Coca-Cola, they're the beverage of choice in Disney. Disney went to them and were like, hey, so this is fully immersive. So even like the bottles of Coca-Cola look like something you'd buy in Star Wars. Like they do not want you to not be immersed in this world. Like you can actually go on the Millennium Falcon and sit by the chessboard. Like it's crazy.
We need to get some point, and if you're listening or watching, if you've been there and you're a cocktail aficionado, if you want to get on the show, we can definitely do a segment. We would love to interview you to talk about the cocktails because neither of us will probably be there this year.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's a smart move. Not just so I hear the lines move quick. I hear actually because of the 4-hour time limit, it's not that packed in the Star Wars land. The Millennium Falcon is actually very easy to get to. I hear it's about an hour wait, which for them it's nothing, and it gives you the full experience where every single person in it is Han Solo flying the Millennium Falcon.
I know. I can't wait till I get like a cool Star Wars outfit and go and sit on the birds of the Millennium Falcon. It's going to be the most amazing thing in the world. I'm so excited.
Now, I got to warn you, Disney does not allow adults to dress in cosplay. Did you know that?
Really?
No, they can't because they don't want you to be, and it makes sense because they have their own cosplay. They don't want you to pretend like you are someone and kidnap a kid.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So adults are not allowed to cosplay. If you've seen our friend Tara, when she went with her daughter, she had essence of Disney characters.
Yeah.
Like she was wearing colors of princesses or t-shirts of princesses, but you're not allowed to actually go in character. So you will not be able to dress like your Han Solo.
I was wondering why I never see any pictures of you dressed as Han. Makes so much sense.
Kids are allowed to. Kids can dress up in like whatever princess outfit they want, but there actually is a rule against adults, and it does make sense.
I make it work.
You could go in there and be a creepo and like pretend you're I don't know, Gaston and sit there and grope kids or anyone. It could be weird. So just
fucking horrible.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, it makes sense.
It's like a terrible world we
So
live in.
I am so excited to go. Again, there's a couple more rides that are going to open up that aren't open yet. It is still going to come to Disney World in a couple months. I think Disney is still the move because Disneyland is still the move.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think you can just get in there easier and get out easier.
I will say, a while back in a previous episode, we were talking about how with everything that's going on with them building the Galaxy's Edge, they don't have access to a Marvel theme park because of the contract that is with Universal Studios. And you would think that with all the Marvel movies going on, that it might be a missed opportunity. Well, look at this. It don't matter. They got Star Wars World. Guess who's not going to the Marvel theme parks? Everybody. They want to go to Star Wars World.
And this is actually being done because of the heavy competition with Harry Potter at Universal.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They're losing their day 2 sales. So that is everyone goes to Disney on day 1.
Right.
You go to these places to go to Disney, but where you used to go to Epcot on day 2 or California Adventures on day 2, now everybody is going to Harry Potter and Universal day 2. So this is being done to combat that. It's a little strange because, especially in Disneyland, where you can't go to a different park the next day. It's still Magic Kingdom, so it's a little strange. I think this is being done more in Disney World in Florida. I'm curious. Yeah, I've never been to Harry Potter World.
It's amazing.
I know you have. I have a feeling it's of that level, probably even better because it is Disney and not Universal.
Oh, yeah.
You know
what you can't do in Harry Potter World?
What?
Sit in the Bridge of the Millennium Falcon. I mean, jeez.
Do they have the food specific to the?
No. The food there's like Ren Fair food.
Yeah, I went to Universal.
And it's not great.
I went to Universal in California, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was very low key. I mean, I did the Simpsons ride. All the rides were very fake. They were the TV rides.
Right.
And I just didn't love it, which is why I wasn't inspired to go to Harry Potter World. Now that I got to be honest with you, the only reason I've been watching the Harry Potter movies, not just to fit in with you and your friends, but I've been doing it because I want to go to Harry Potter Land.
Yeah, you really need to see the movies before you go.
But I have a feeling that Star Wars Land is going to blow it out of the water.
Yeah, no. I love the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I love Star Wars more.
So speaking of other things we love, you love your role playing games.
I do love my RPGs.
So the closest thing to RPGs I've ever gotten, other than video games, is Magic the Gathering, which isn't an RPG at all. But you can control your deck, so I find it's a little bit of a thing, even though it's luck of a draw. You do create your persona based on what landmass you are. I was a big black and white person,
right?
But. So we found out that for those who don't know, Magic the Gathering is a card game. It's a turn-based card game. You use a dice, you roll, you do damage. It's based on what the cards are on. It's very, very awesome. I don't know if you want to go more into it.
Yeah, so it's a collectible card game. And what you do is you build decks, and with those decks, you're going to cast spells, you're going to cast monsters, and you're going to use land, which is considered mana, to cast those spells and monsters. The object is to defeat your enemy. Now, when you do this, you are considered a planeswalker. You are the person who is essentially the spellcaster in Magic. It's essentially a wizard battle between different factions and armies. And there's different colors, black, red, green, blue, and white. You can mix the colors up. Each color has a different feel and a different vibe. Red is, if you're going to be just doing constant attack damage. Black is if you're dealing with the dead. Green is for the forest. Lots of cool stuff in there. Lots of different things. However, for most people would hear the news that the Russo brothers, the folks who brought us the wonderful Avengers movies we love so much, are going to be producing a new Magic the Gathering cartoon series for Netflix.
Oh, it's cartoon.
It's cartoon, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a TV show, like a live action. I got a little weirded out. I actually thought this was a terrible idea.
Right.
Because to me, I'm like, well, how do you take a game that is so based on you being the character, you're being the wizard, you're casting the spells, and put a face on it? I feel that would destroy the essence of the game.
So what it breaks down to is this, because I've had a few people kind of hit me up today asking me this question. In Magic the Gathering, what they do is they release a set. And every year, or actually at this point, I think like 3, maybe 4 times a year, they introduce a new set. And the set's kind of complete to do an overarching story. So like Dungeons & Dragons and other fantasy role-playing games, it exists in a world where stories are told. And it's not based on you, the character. It's based on the planeswalkers, like Chandra Nalaar, who is the girl that you see in the graphic that they released today for Netflix. Liliana Vess, Gideon Jura, Nicholas can't say his name, Nico Bolas, Tezzeret the Seeker. These are all characters that exist in this world, and there's wars that are going on and stories being told. It's a complete self-contained fantasy world. The game that you play just happens to exist in that world, and you're just in there. You may not be familiar with the lore, but you know which cards you like, and you know how you're going to try to kill your friends.
I am very curious to see how that is. I mean, Netflix seems to be doing right lately, especially by the cartoons.
Right.
I'm just a little bit, I don't know. I was surprised to find out this would happen.
There is no way in shit they could do a live-action Magic the Gathering with the...
I cast Fireball!
Yeah, I mean, dude...
Sarah Angel, attack!
Effects budget, gone. First 30 seconds of the episode. But as a cartoon, man, you could get away with a lot of cool shit that you probably couldn't do. And to be honest, Netflix is doing a great job with the storytelling and the cartoons that they've been releasing. So knowing that the Russo brothers are behind this, I am very excited to see how this turns out.
I am curious. I'm cautiously optimistic. Do you know how I got into Magic the Gathering?
By thievery?
No. I mean, I did steal a lot of cards when I was young, but I believe I went to Greece in the summer between 93 and 94, and I landed back in JFK, and for some reason, we somehow conned my friends Mike Dolan and Nick Francos to pick us up because my friend Nick, somehow his uncle owned a limo company. Anyway, they picked us up, and when I arrived at the airport, Mike Dolan handed me a pack of Magic cards, a deck of Magic, a starter deck, and 2 tickets to go see Rancid that night at City Gardens.
Sounds like the best party ever.
Yeah, I clearly have the best friends ever, and I'm like, he's like, this is what we do now. And I'm like, okay, let's go see Rancid, and I will play Magic the Gathering. And that's how I became a huge fan of Magic the Gathering for quite a while until there was a weird, it just kind of died out. I think we went to college and we started getting laid.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I think that was probably it. And
twice on Sunday.
Slow down. I do still have all my cards
Yo.
and my decks, all black border.
Yeah.
All black border.
That's Gabe's college fund right there.
Yeah. Ken has been trying to get me to give them to him. I'm like, no.
You should just sell them on your own.
I might.
I mean, some of those cards, depending on
I have a lot of dual land cards.
Dual lands, a lot of dual lands are just worth like $150, $200.
I know. They're just sitting in a binder I have upstairs.
Seriously, what are you doing wrong, man?
I'm allergic to money, and I'm too lazy to actually do anything with them. But I do have Magic. So if in honor of the launch TBT, I think we're going to need to play Magic again. No, though the rate you've been playing my Fallout game, it'll never happen. But
I learned how to play it though. That's the important part.
I have decks ready to go when you're ready to go.
No. I will get us some decks that are new, so we do not touch and sully the decks that you have that you could sell and put your kid through college with. You got some old shit.
My kids, there's going to be no college by the time my kid's too old. College will be just kids won't go to college anymore.
Trade school, barber school, wherever the fuck he wants to go. You are sitting on the fund to do it in a binder of Magic cards.
Oh,
you dingus.
Binders full of Magic.
Old Magic.
So what do you have sitting next to you, Hambone?
So what I have sitting next to me is the brand new Fallout crate.
So this is going to be, I want to make it very clear. The last Fallout crate was meh. This is the last crate I'm ever going to get if it is a shitty box. I want to make it very clear to the public that if this box does not have a t-shirt in it, I will punch the man immediately to the left of me for showing me a box without a t-shirt in it. Because I'm sick and tired of paying $36 and not getting a motherfucking t-shirt because that's the only thing good about the Fallout crate. Hambone, open that box up.
And that man to the left, he will duck.
Ah!
Stop hitting me, I'm delicate.
What is in this box, Hambone?
All right, so the first things first.
Do you miss unboxing things?
No, because they're always crap. So the first things first, we have a terminal phone stand. So this is a stand for your phone that is a terminal from Fallout.
Does it, do anything?
I don't know. I mean, let's open it up and find out. We're unboxing things. No, you literally just...
It's a stand for my phone.
Just a stand for your phone.
I could use a stand for my phone right now.
All right, that works. All right.
It's still not a t-shirt. What else is in there, Hambone?
You have a pin that is rebuilt, and it's got 2 pin backs, which I do appreciate with the larger pin, 2 pin backs.
This is the biggest waste of plastic ever.
Yep.
But I can put my phone in it.
Well, especially it's the biggest waste of plastic because you have no thing to shove the power supply for your phone through.
It doesn't fit when you have a case on your phone.
How great. You also get a Build-A-Figure part. It looks like...
An arm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Crap. You have a broadside replica of some kind of... Looks like a cannon.
Yeah, this is... And these are really not that cool when you look at them.
Yeah.
Like when you open them
You
up.
have a really shitty pair of fuzzy dice for the Atom Cats for your window, but you would totally get pulled over and a ticket for obstructing the view of your car if you put that up.
You're not allowed to have dice in your car?
You're not really supposed to.
Where's the T-shirt?
You've already kicked the crap out of me. There's no T-shirt. And then you have a map of West Virginia. That's a poster map of West Virginia, and it explains what everything that came in the box was.
So this is it. That's the end of Fallout.
Yes,
that's the end of
cancel
our
it.
Loot Crate box. Next, we will have the Rick and Morty box.
Right.
And we will continue to... There better be a fucking T-shirt in that.
What is up with you guys not sending T-shirts in these boxes?
Loot Crate. I mean,
Come on, son.
we went with the actual crate, the Loot Crate, until it started to suck. I got sold into the Fallout one because I love Fallout.
And those first few Fallout crates were amazing.
And my T-shirts are great. When you do have a T-shirt, they're awesome shirts. People love my Fallout shirts.
Who doesn't love T-shirts?
This is bad. This is just sad. You've failed us again, so I will give you more money for Rick and Morty. We'll see how that goes. You see, this is why we can't do sponsored loot boxes, because then we'll have to say good things about them. And I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to say good things about shit like this.
No. I mean, I'm not asking for sponsors for, loot boxes, but, a liquor sponsor would be great, because we use liquor. We use a lot of rum. We make drinks. Cool. Lieber & Co. Would be a great sponsor, because we use their mixers to make I have nothing bad to say about Lieber & Co. I would only want a sponsor that I'm, really psyched on.
We'll make it happen, and maybe I'll say yes.
Fine.
So the next thing I want to talk about is Chernobyl.
Feel bad TV.
Chernobyl is hands down one of the best shows I've ever seen. One of the best miniseries I've ever seen. HBO just murdered it. I can't explain. This happened around Chernobyl came out around the same time Game of Thrones ended, and it's the story of Chernobyl. If I'm pronounced Chernobyl. Look, it's a province of the USSR. It is in the Ukraine. Back then, it was in Soviet Russia. And as most people know, and most people just all they know about it is the fact that there was a nuclear reactor. It blew up, and now it's and people got sick, and that's about all they know about it. The disaster. They talk about the disaster. People have me taking it a little bit further. I'm obsessed with the ruins of Chernobyl, which aren't even ruins. It was just at 86 when it blew up, they abandoned a city. And there is a no man's land out there. And just to see, I love watching videos of people who sneak in there now, which is still incredibly radiated.
Yeah, they go in the Geiger counters and it's like...
And it's like, oh, okay, that's scary.
Geigers.
But they do go in, and I love seeing how the Earth's taken over. Very Last of Us, very reminiscent of that. Well, this is a story of what actually happened, and it's told through the story of the investigators who investigated it, who were there to find out what went wrong and cover it up, because that's what the USSR did back then.
It's kind of their thing.
They hated being embarrassed about anything.
Same as, say it still
is.
The
acting in it is incredible. The story is insane, because you can't it's unfathomable that they actually lied to make it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's about as much radiation as a microwave. There's nothing wrong here. And meanwhile, they coerced hundreds of thousands of workers to come without any safety equipment to remove all the to clean it up and to cover it and to seal it. And what you literally see walking dead people. You see people who will not survive days or weeks, who have volunteered because this is what Russia wants, to solve a problem that they know will kill them. But that's how it was back then. And it is insane. You're watching this, you're like, are you crazy? You're going to go into radiated water to open up water to help contain this thing that it will. They have Geiger counters, and it's off the charts. And
fuck that noise.
They hire these miners to come and dig under the plant or whatever to help stop the burning, and they hire hundreds of them, and they know that they're going to die, and they're like, well, they've got about 20 minutes to get in and out and clean before it's insane. And you see there's footage of the first firefighters who their skin is literally melting like the ghouls in Fallout, just rotting away, humans still alive.
I don't like this.
And it's crazy. In the end, they said only 31 people died from this, but it very well could be hundreds and thousands of of residual cancer.
They said only
They
31 people died from
it is such an insane story, but it is also a beautiful story. It is beautiful as in the way it's shot.
Right.
They recreated Chernobyl. They recreated the city. The level of detail that went into making this show is insane. It is 5 episodes. Yes, there is some stuff in there. There is an entire episode 4, I believe, where they show the worst job in the entire world. Do you know what that job is?
Janitor.
Well, it is. You could say it is the people who have to clean this up who might die, but they don't know that they're going to die from this. The worst job are the people, the people that are hired to murder the pets that are running around radiated.
Oh, George, no.
There is legitimately an entire episode
no.
just showing people murdering pet dogs, and there will be like there's one scene where like they go into a kitchen. There's all these puppies.
George, stop it.
And the one guy
Stop
just
it.
can't do it. He goes, I gotta take care. And you just start hearing. Now they don't show anything. It's not gratuitous. It's actually worse because you don't know what's happening. But that's what happened. I mean, to control this radiation and then to see the lying that took place, like nobody would believe anybody because you can't tell them that the USSR fucked up. And it makes it all the way to the final episode, which literally recreates. They never actually show you what happened the day. It starts with the explosion having just happened.
Right.
This backs it up in the trial, and you see what happened the day of, and you see the amount of lying and the covering of acids. You think corporate life is bad? This is insane.
That's like some next level corporate shit.
Anything you say will hurt the USSR. And the only reason they admitted that this happened was because radiation went into Germany and surrounding countries that were like, why is there a massive amount of radiation pouring over us?
Yeah.
Well, it's because Chernobyl blew up. So it is on HBO. It just finished. It is 5 one-hour episodes. There's also an accompanying podcast, which is great.
Everybody's podcasting.
The one complaint that I had to begin with, but now I understand why they did it, and it only lasts a couple minutes. So they decided not to do this in Russian with subtitles.
Right.
They also decided not to do it in English with Russian accents because they felt it would be too Boris and Natasha Bull and Moose. They're like, there's no way. You cannot do a Russian accent on an English speaker without it sounding either fake or the actor is spending so much time trying to do the accents that they don't stop acting. It's Moose and Squirrel, yeah. It's so bad. So they decided to use British, Irish, UK, Scottish...
I'm fine with that.
And they did it, and it is in their accents. They didn't do anything to goose it. They didn't try to make it Russian. The only thing they did was add the word comrade liberally.
Wessel.
Very, very interesting. I think it's an incredible piece of history that I think everyone should watch. I think it's just such just to see Russia, especially after having seen the Americans. I was actually waiting for a crossover episode with the Americans.
No, you would have lost it.
And it's a great story, and yes, it's feel bad, but it's also a moment in time, and just to see that now, it's crazy, and it really fills in what most people don't know about Chernobyl.
Well, there you go. I'm not going to watch it.
I think everybody out there should watch it. Yes, it is. It is feel bad TV, but it's real world, and it's not like, it's one thing when you watch something that's made up to make you feel bad, which is kind of weird that you're watching something made up to make you feel bad.
Right.
I think it's a whole nother thing when it's like you want to experience history, so we don't recreate history.
Right. Yeah, that's it's going to be a no for me, dog, especially with all the killing of the pets.
So do you want to hear about something even more weird and scary and depressing? So
I mean, if we're on that road, we might as well stay on the road.
I am not the one on this show who watches bad TV or movies just to watch it. I do not, the name of the segment without a jingle is Hambone will watch anything.
Even if it's bad.
Or Hambone watches anything. I do not feel that way. I am very much, if something sucks in the first 15 minutes, I will stop watching it. I give TV episodes 3 episodes unless they really suck, then I'll stop after 1. I don't have enough time in my life to waste on bad TV. But sometimes Allison goes to bed at 10. And if Allison goes to bed at 10, that means I can watch fucked up TV.
Hard time.
And I love my fucked up TV. So I've watched pretty much everything lately. Like, there hasn't been a great amount of horror movies this year, and I'm fighting the urge to watch Happy Death Day 2. Happy Death Day 2, yeah.
Why would you fight the urge? It's going to be so much fun.
I can't. I just, why would they make a sequel to this?
Because the first one was awesome.
But then I watched Netflix, and the first thing up on me was recommended was a new movie called Perfection. And I'm like, oh, this is very odd. And this is a horror movie. It stars Allison Williams, also known as Marnie from Girls. And I'm like, well, this is a horror movie. I looked it up. I think I did a quick Google search. It's like, this is the most fucked up movie right now, and it's on Netflix, and you should watch it. So I'm like, okay, The Perfection. Let's do this. Fire up The Perfection. Marnie, Allison Williams was great in Get Out.
She was great in Get Out, and she was also in another Netflix series, the Series of Unfortunate Events in the final season. She was fantastic in that.
So I decided to watch this movie. It's an hour and a half, a perfect amount of time to watch.
Perfect movie length.
And I'm like, what could this be about? It is the story of a violinist who had to give up being a violinist because her mother was either psychologically impaired, she was dying. I don't remember exactly what it was. Something was wrong. She had to take care of her mother.
Her mother had dementia. She was dying.
Dementia. I can't quite remember what it was, but there was something going.
I read about this.
And so she decides to step away from being this like classically trained, amazing violinist. Might spoil some things right now. So if you want to like fast forward through, you could reach us at Handbreaker, and I'm at George GLK Creative and
the usual spots.
Ham Fist Productions and Cult of George. Anyway, so she comes back into the picture after her mother dies, and she goes back to her school where she learned how to be a great violinist, and she's watching the modern versions of her younger contemporaries now just ripping it on the violin, and she is very upset. She seems hurt, and because she can't be in this right now, and she decides to torture. It turns into a weird violinist torture porn movie.
So I've read.
And people are very upset about a particular scene.
What is it?
Where the other violinist, they decide to go on a road trip together and just to escape and go have fun. She gives her some alcohol. They get drunk. They have sex. So there's some really good, lesbian. If you want to see Marnie from Girls have lesbian sex, this is the movie for you.
Didn't she do that in Girls too?
Did she? I don't remember that.
They all fucked.
Maybe,
girls a lot
but it was
it.
So that happens, and she slips her a Mickey, which makes her like think like that. Well, for the most part, that things are crawling in her arm. So she's on a bus, and they're in the middle of nowhere, and they're trying to get somewhere, and she's freaking out. The other violinist is hallucinating that there's things in her arms, and she's freaking out. And the bus driver, it is so panic and anxiety inducing, like because she's trying to get off the bus, but they're in the middle of nowhere. So finally, like the bus driver's pissed off, lets her out. She's like has to shit. She has to shit so bad. She just shits everywhere. And then like shit starts, then like the bugs are crawling in her arm, and she's freaking out. And like Marnie from Girls just pulls out a butcher knife and goes, "You know what you have to do," and she just cuts her arm off. And it was actually done so that Marnie can become the lead violinist again.
What a bitch!
It's a revenge, non-revenge, torture porn violinist movie.
But then, I
don't know where we go with this. What's then?
Well,
then they go through this whole so there's a big battle with the teachers and it turns out the school was actually a school that like basically tortured women until they become perfect violinists. Like it goes weird. It's like Hostel, but in a world of like classically trained violinists.
Right, but then the whole thing is Marnie gets her hand cut off.
Well that's when there's a final battle sequence and she gets her arm and she loses her arm, and then they become like a unified human centipede violinist.
Well, they did that because Marnie wasn't the villain as much as she was trying to save her from the psychological torture of the guy who was doing the thing.
I thought the plot was weak there.
No, but that was the whole thing. That was the twist.
Like the twist there kind of, I was a little not sold on the twist.
Well, the twist, I mean, I figured it had a nice little finish because then the girl's like, "Oh, wow, you're really trying to save me." And she's like, "Duh, I was trying to save you." And then they cut off the arms and cut off the legs of the guy who was torturing them, and then
it was very Governor in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, and then they force him to listen to them play the cello together because each of them only have one hand,
like human centipede with violinists.
Yes,
it was the weirdest movie I've seen. A way weird movie. I've never It was strange.
Well, the internet self-destructed over this movie over the weekend because everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the grossest movie I've ever seen, the grossest movie." And it's like, well, yo, I'll see you that and I'll raise you a Serbian film, fools.
Yeah, and not even Serbian film, but like fucking Human Centipede.
Or Human Centipede. So I did not watch it because this weekend, so many different things came out that I needed to see, like the Wu-Tang documentary, Nosferatu episode 1 was out, Good Omens dropped, What We Do in the Shadows finished up. I mean, this whole weekend I was just in front of the television.
Well, you just pretty much ran through what our next episode's going to be.
Pretty much.
But that's it. So The Perfectionist on Netflix, it's not as gross as you think it is. I think you should give it a chance. If you're a classically trained violinist, this is a movie for you. If you're into torture porn, this is a movie for you. If you liked, Hostel or any movies of that ilk, this is a movie for you. If you want like a happy movie on a Friday night and you've had a few drinks, this might be a movie for you. I think you should check it out. If you're a big Allison Williams fan, this is a movie for you. So, Hambone, anything else that we should know about? Anything else going on in life?
Not much. I will tell you, if you haven't gotten to check out Good Omens yet on Amazon streaming, check it out. All 6 episodes dropped at once, and it is David Tennant doing some of the best David Tennant work David Tennant does. If you like Joe Hill and Stephen King on AMC, what a piece of garbage TV, little computer stand is. If you like Stephen King and his son Joe Hill is an amazing writer. He wrote one of my favorite comics of all time, Lock and Key. Nosferatu is the novel that he wrote. The TV adaptation is out now on AMC, and it's AMC doing what AMC does best, making some quality television. There's so much good TV going on right now.
It's a good time for TV.
Fucking A-rated it is, and it's like the summer.
And we haven't even talked about wrestling in weeks, and I need to talk about wrestling, but I don't know how to shoehorn wrestling into all this.
It's okay.
Because, last night, didn't watch Raw again. It's that bad.
Oh, I had it on the background. It's freaking terrible.
Yeah, so, I think we need to recalibrate our wrestling coverage.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to talk wrestling, but I also don't want to talk wrestling.
Yeah, I don't want to talk wrestling if it's bad. I feel like we could take the summer off to talk about wrestling and then start when the AEW, WWE,
war
starts. Let's take the summer off. We'll talk about war. When war happens, we talk about war.
Vince has an aneurysm. Anyway, Hambone, it is always great to have you on the show. It's always good to have you back here. I will be in Chicago for a while and other things, and I have the most insane. I'm going to try to get home. I'm literally going to be flying home and coming home just to tape this show. And then going back away. So, it's going to be one of those, I'm going to look like I'm in pain half the time. Constantly. And you really are in pain.
I'm legitimately in pain.
Next week, big reveal. We're going to talk about what his MRI showed. I'm super excited. You're going to bring your MRI, right?
I don't think I can.
Ask if you can have something.
I have a disc.
I think you should show it to me. We should put it on these lights, and you can show me exactly what's wrong with you, and I could go, oh, so that's what psychosomatic looks like.
It's not psychosomatic, you son of a bitch.
Hambone, how can the world kids reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at Handbreaker. I'm constantly tweeting about cute animals, Dungeons & Dragons, professional wrestling. You can follow my adventures out in the real world on Instagram at John Hambone McGuire. It's a lot of fun.
You can reach me once I play my music at GLK Creative on Instagram, at GLK Creative on the Twitters. I am at cultofgeorge.com where I'm blogging when I get a chance. I am available anytime for parties and entertainment. Just know that if I bring him with me, it never ends well. You need to rate, review, and subscribe to our show. We need the love. We're definitely getting more and more. We really appreciate it. We've hit 70,000 downloads. It's been a hell of a week. Stop with the kitty. Kitty loves you.
I want to love him too, but I'm allergic, and I'm already in pain, so I can't take it anymore.
I think your allergies might be caused by your back. Your hip has caused your back problems. Hambone, take us out.
Everybody remember, be nice. Aloha.